He was so silent. I didn't know what to do, but oh well. And we are live. Hello, and welcome to Pixel Pints. We are the only global gaming podcast that talks about two things, which is good beer and video games. McWomble is away, so the rest of us can play. I'm your host, Mitch, for this weekend. I'm excited, pumped. Let's do this. We are doing your breakdown of 2022 in video games. We are going to go over every single title, and we'll get to that in a minute. But don't worry, this will not be a long version. We have found a method to smooth things over. But before that, I'm going to kick it off to my other host. I'm here in LA, but I'm going to kick it off to one of my other hosts that is guesting today, and we have Evan Piotrowski, all the way from Japan.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing?
Good. I wanted to forego pleasantries just so I could. Oh, actually, Mitch, you'll appreciate this. So, one of the guys I work with, he's from Michigan. Is one of the three English teachers at my school. He's lived in Japan for 14 years. He's only ever been a PC gamer. He hasn't had a console since he was a kid. And God of War 2018 just came out on PC. And he's been playing it. Now, he hasn't... I don't think he's ever owned a PlayStation system. I don't think he's maybe even ever played the God of War game. So he started playing it, and just from someone who has seen very little of the game and not really been embedded in, like the PlayStation ecosystem or PlayStation games or anything like that, I woke up this morning and he had just this long list of initial thoughts, and I just wanted to read them off very, very quickly. So he said, it's not so much an open world as it is a 3D Metroidvania, but it's designed very well. There isn't actually a lot of redundant backtracking because of the course is efficient, quote unquote. That said, if you want to go back to do something, you can do it. Combat gets stale until it doesn't. I'm always getting new skills and having lots of fun trying out different things. I've actually had so many badass cinematic fights. I had an encounter with two ogres and rode onto the other. Or I rode one onto the other, and it was amazing, even though I've already fought lots of ogres. Character planning is actually kind of overwhelming in a good way. I saw the skill trees and thought that's not too much, but the runes add a lot of versatility. The world is Fucking awesome. He loves Norse mythology, and he likes the characters and the story and how they're drip fed through the lore. And he said, I'm immersed unlike any other game I've played in years, which is, from what I've heard him talk about other games, that's like high praise coming from him. Even though nothing happens, quote unquote, because you're just climbing the mountain. I'm completely sold on Kratos and his son, even though I don't know why they're together yet. Music and vistas are gorgeous, and finally the set pieces are incredible. I got to the top of the elevator, and the dragon did his dragon things. So good. Anyway, sorry for the spam. Love this game. So it's actually quite exciting. So much so, I started playing God of War again after like 2 years ago. I'm like, man, you're getting me excited. So I haven't played it since the PlayStation 4, and now it's 60 frames per second and 4K. And the first time I played it, I had a 1080p TV. Now I have an OLED. Oh, wow, does that game look great. So I think I'm going to play through it again. I mean, I'm kind of in this... We're going to talk about the games we want to play, but I'm in this kind of lull for games I want to play. So yeah, it's nice to hear people praise Mitch's favorite game of the decade, and one of mine as well.
The best game.
Sorry.
Best game of all time. Let's. Ooh, yes.
Oh,
I went there. And hello, Commander Fret. Favorite part was the boat rides. Oh yes, the stories were always interesting. The tricky part was we were on the boat ride, and then I always have to like circle around a little longer because I was like, the story can't be done yet. I need to finish the story before I park.
Well, it is the same animations though, so that's kind of a minus.
Whatever.
I'm just kidding.
And then popping in and out, but he is here, and he is clear. And that is Liam. How are you doing?
Well, but by chance. Oh, sorry. I just put on the podcast and now I can hear Evan's voice back and I'm being like, what's going on? But anyway, I'm sorry for disconnecting as soon as the podcast starts, as is tradition. But yeah, I'm doing well now. Haven't really been playing much this week, so I'm afraid I can't say much.
No worries, not at all. And thanks for asking, everybody. I'm doing okay.
Oh, we got to keep it's tradition.
it's tradition.
Nobody cares how the host is doing.
No
Now,
one
how are you
does.
doing?
I'm good. I got my booster yesterday, so I felt like crap today, which is how I felt on my second shot. Which is, I've had the hots and colds and the headache with the exhaustion. So I just laid in this bed behind me all day long. I watched some football and some cooking shows. I really couldn't play video games. I tried to play some Pokemon, but my head was just banging too hard. I could not really look at the screen. I was like half sleeping while I was listening to everything happening in my room. But anyway, that's why I have my hood on and everything. I've showered. Yes, I did shower today, but I did not even, my hair looks like I woke up from like the worst bedhead ever. So I was just like, cover it with the hoodie. So if you're listening audio style, which you are listening to on any podcast service that we are on, you don't have to look at my head, and that's great, because I just look like a Sith Lord, and it's A-okay. But if you do want to see me look like a Sith Lord, we stream live on twitch.tv/pixelpints every single weekend. And to know when we are streaming live, you can follow us on Twitter, and which is pixel_pints, or on Instagram, which is pixelpintspod. We also archive on YouTube as well. Just look up Pixel Pints on YouTube and look for that green overlay with the white mug with some beer and some pixels out of it, and you are right in gear. All right, because I got my booster and I'm this way, I usually would be having a beer, but I'm not today, because that also is not something you're supposed to have after your booster shot, or your second shot, or your first vaccination shot. I think it's like 48 hours you really aren't supposed to drink to help with the vaccine. But anyway,
Well, I don't have a beer, Mitch, but I do have a story that might make you feel a little bit better.
okay.
One of my best buddies, he got the vaccine shot on the 21st of December, and he got real unlucky because he was sick all the way from the 21st of December until the 27th. So he spent the whole of Christmas feeling really bad.
Well, the crazy part was I was
unlucky.
I was fortunate enough to be one of the first, because I work in the healthcare industry, to get the vaccine, and that was in January of last year. So like I completely forgot of how crappy I felt on my second shot in February, because it's almost been a full year. I was like, oh God, this is killing me. But I'm fine. I'm happy I got it. After the third Bill Gates microchip in my arm, I feel like I should be able to do something like transform into something, and I just haven't been able to find the power yet. So total joke. There's no microchip.
Fuck you, Bill Gates. How dare you?
There's no microchip in my body. There's just There's just a microchip in my hand that like you follow me around all day long with. So anyway, enough of that.
Do you think someone's gonna make that movie? This kind of alternate reality, what if situation? I don't know, like, it could be satire or it could be deadpan serious about all the governments in the world.
I mean, they make Christian movies. I wouldn't put it past them to make like one as a form of potential propaganda. So I wouldn't put it past them. There's an audience for it, unfortunately.
I mean, personally, I think what people are missing is that if Bill Gates had put Steve Ballmer in charge of the vaccines, then we would have something to worry about.
Well, Evan, do you got any beer?
Yeah. It's 5 p.m. here. I do. Tomorrow is actually literally a school day for me. But anyways, I'm not as disciplined and as responsible as McWomble's, and he's not here. Not like he's going to grab me through my screen and stop me. But I'm drinking the eating Ichiban Bori on the side, but I'm drinking Mino beer, stout. All of their beers just have a plain black text. Yeah, sorry, this is the last one. Oh, you have the other one, the good one. the one I don't like. And actually, I appreciate this. It's not like
For the record, he was telling his wife that he drank the last one.
We get a delivery every 2 months of a 12-pack of Mino beer. It's actually kind of hard to find in stores. So yeah, you won't be drinking this anytime soon. I don't think she heard me. I do appreciate that their beers are just the name of the style. There's a very nice craft beer section opened in a supermarket in across the street from Kyoto Station, and I haven't seen a lot of craft beers from Europe or the States. And Bill Burr has talked about this. It's like everything's like "fuck you" IPA and badass brew, and it's like just calm down a little bit. So stout, it's just a stout. This has actually won in the World Beer Cup for the dry stout style in 2009, 2014, and 2016. However, it says the world's number one beer stout on it, but it's from 2016. So how long can you stretch that?
I mean,
if you win an award,
have you seen the car
how
companies?
long can you put that on the label?
Have you seen the car
What's
companies when they put it in their commercials being like safest vehicle?
JD Power and Associates.
JD Power Associates from 2009. It's like it's
Wait a
2022. It's like 10
What year
years
is it?
ago. What?
Yeah.
You're still vouching about that?
So yeah, actually, all of these bottles are from Mino that I have up here. It's a really really good, very small brewery. I used to go to their anniversary event every June. They're in this park across the street from the brewery. They had this giant event, and then all these delicious beers on tap. But since the pandemic and all, they haven't done it, unfortunately. But yeah, I like dry stouts, and yeah, this is really really solid stout, bitter, but you get heaps of chocolate, bit of coffee, roasted malts in there. So yeah, it's just I think one reason that they do just flat put, or at least call their beers by just the style, is because they're just really good at doing exactly what that style is. They don't really turn it up to 11 like a lot of American breweries do with IPAs and that type of thing. They're just like, nope, we're gonna make the style exactly what it's supposed to be, or at least traditionally, and we're gonna do it really well. So yeah, this is Mino's dry stout, and it's very good.
All right. Something I completely forgot to mention, because people know I live in LA. I'm not near the water, so I'm not under the tsunami watch right now. So so far everything's A-okay here in LA. So we're.
Oh, I didn't know it went that far. Jeez.
Yeah, they closed down all the beaches, and then the tide has pulled in the beach, really pulled it in. There's some coral reefs basically hanging out with no water in them.
Oh wow.
Because that's how much the tide got pulled in. So
Wow.
I'm nowhere near the water. I'm like a 20-minute drive from there. So I'm going to be fine.
Actually, neither am I.
I was going to say, how are
tsunami
you?
Yeah, I was just wondering that.
Eh? Was that? Okay, so apparently in Japan is nothing bad has happened, or at least what we've read about.
We're under a tsunami watch, I think is what it's called. So it's not even a warning.
And I'm way inward. Kyoto City is way inward. There's no
Well, I don't
fear.
know, Evan. I've been following the news just for one specific reason. Just because they lowered the tsunami warning in the early hours of today. So I personally, selfishly, was like, yes, that's good. They won't delay the next episode of Attack on Titan.
Oh wow!
Wow! Wow!
But also, I'm very happy nothing will happen to any innocent people that don't deserve a tsunami to ruin their fucking week or month.
I would say.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I would say more than a week.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of selfish, Liam. However, Attack on Titan is one of the greatest modern animes ever, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the final season, part 2. So, no, it's just objective truth that you think about Attack on Titan first, and then people second. It's pretty easy.
But you know what we think? But no, it's not
just
Attack
because
on.
I'm a huge nerd.
Nope, everybody, it's not Attack on Titans first. It's video games. Bring it back to games. You're welcome, McWomble. It's games first, Attack
He's
on
gonna
Titan,
kick me
and
off the
people
podcast
is
for this.
third. All right, so what we are going to do after we're done with since we're done with all our beverage, we're going to talk about 2022, fellas, because 2022 is stacked. I would say I could go on and say, and I will say this, 2022, I believe, may be in the running for one of the greatest years of video games ever in regards to releases. Ever. Yep. You can hold me
Big
to
word.
that, old people.
I agree with you.
You could hold me to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a fun game because we have so many games we want to skip over or talk about or just say what we're excited for it to come out. So we are going to play this fun little game where I have a list of every single game that is coming out in 2022. Now, there are some of these have a full release date. Some of these have a tentative 2022, and some of them we think are coming in 2022. But like Hellblade is not on this list because that's not coming out in 2022, people. Quit dreaming. It's not happening. It's not happening. So that's not coming on this list. So sorry. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through one by one each of these games, and I'm just going to name the game, and we're going to quick say whether we are excited for it or we're depressed about it. And if we want to discuss about it, then we'll discuss about it. I know there's some that we'll actually discuss about, and some of them we'll just go, okay, sounds good, moving on. And to how to break that down, Evan wanted to do something a little special. He wants to relate it to beer, and I'm excited that he wants to do that because we are the only global gaming podcast that covers two things, which is great beer and video games. So therefore, Evan is going to choose the type of beer, which is the good beer and which is the bad beer. So Evan, what's the good beer? When we're excited about a game, what kind of beer are we going to say we're excited about?
All right, and if you want to
Nope,
do
not
your
change
own...
it. Nope, it's
Yeah?
all the same.
Okay, all right.
Consistency.
So when we talk about these games, we're going to, when we pull them out to discuss them, we're going to talk about them in terms of good choice, bad choice. Good choice being a nice, dank West Coast IPA for short, like a legal document. We're just going to say IPA. Okay. That's my IPA. And I'm sorry if you're a big fan of this beer. The bad choice is a Hefeweizen. I am not a fan of Hefeweizens. I don't like the banana bubblegum vanilla mixture in the aroma of those beers. I know it's a very traditional beer. Like Bavaria, Germany, goes back, I was going to say decades. 1996, hundreds of years. So, but I do not like them. I can have a few sips and I'm over that taste very, very quickly. So yeah, IPA and Hefeweizen is what we're going to go for.
All right.
With our picks for good and bad.
Okay. So let's just get started now. We are going to start with the games that actually have release dates. So starting in 2 days on the 18th of January, we have Nobody Saves the World.
Oh yeah.
Is that a IPA or is that a Hefeweizen?
Can we choose a middle ground where we're like very indifferent about the game?
You tell me what beer that is, Evan. You're the one this is your beer combination, my man.
I'm very indifferent about sour ales. They have their place.
Okay, it's my sour ale. It's my sour ale.
Okay.
I'm indifferent on this one.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, I'll give it an IPA because I haven't disliked anything Drinkbox has put out up till now. So
this is Drinkbox?
Yeah, this is a Drinkbox game.
What kind of game is it?
I don't even know.
I don't even know how to explain it either.
It has a timed exclusivity on Xbox, which is a bit weird. But
oh, damn it!
But, I mean, it's Drinkbox, so.
It would be my IPA, but I can't play it yet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll say it's my sour ale because how dare they not put it on PlayStation, first? Because I'm petty like that.
Well, Drinkbox gave the PS Vita so much love when they had that that exclusive game,
Yeah.
one of the best games on the Vita.
The PS Vita didn't love it back though.
Well,
Yeah, unfortunately not.
here's more of the Xbox Lovin'. In 2 more days, on the 20th of January, we have Rainbow Six Extraction.
Oh.
That's
Because the reason why I say Xbox Lovin' is because it's coming to Game Pass day one.
it is okay.
For
That's
Game
a
Pass
that's a it's a
subscribers.
Hefeweizen for me. Actually, no, I don't even know if it's less than that because I wouldn't even take a sip of it.
Whoa. It's the one that they give to you and you just go, just chuck it.
Yeah. That's they didn't clean the taps. That they need to clean those hoses. I mean that's no surprise to anyone that it's just not a game that I care for.
I was gonna say it's my IPA for now. Based on what I've seen of it, it's an IPA. My mind is open to be changed. If it's anything like what the last Rainbow Six Siege, if it's like Rainbow Six Siege, but evolving those elements a little bit more in this one, in regard, because the Siege really brought back the strategicness of that game in regards to, you know, getting into an area and creating self a plan of either defending or getting into the location and completing the mission. I think they're trying to do, by the way it looks, I think they're trying to do the same thing with this one, except add more elements. And they're also bringing back they're also keeping the roles. I forgot what you call them off the top of my head.
Operators.
Operators, that's what it is. So they're keeping the operators, which then pushes me in that direction. So if it is that and they're evolving the elements more, then it's definitely like an IPA for me, because I'm way more interested in it because it's not PvP. It's more of it's against computer instead. And there is risk. If you die, you lose that character to the aliens. And I think that's an interesting concept, that there is risk.
I mean, I'd be more interested in this if I had a Xbox, but I don't. So I'll just say it's a Hefeweizen and keep going with my petty picks.
Well, that same day we got
spit my beer out.
we got an indie darling that has been many decades in the making. We got Windjammers 2, fellas. It is my it's my Hefeweizen, because I have no idea what the game is. I've seen it, but I've never played one.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I don't know. I've never seen it.
The only reason this exists is because of Giant Bomb. So I believe it's a Neo Geo arcade game that was ported. So basically on what is that called? Unprofessional Fridays. The whole Giant Bomb crew, this is years ago, got super into Windjammers, and they just played it all the time. And I think Giant Bomb, at least at that point, was very I guess influential, or enough so that someone was like, hey, let's do a Windjammers again, because I never heard of Windjammers until I started watching Giant Bomb content. So, but it's like, it's a competitive game. You're like throwing frisbees,
it's like
bouncing them off the walls at each other.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested. The game looks cool. The original, like the pixel art was great.
This updated one looks very good as well. I will admit that.
Yeah.
Commander Fett, you're more right on that one. I think the Rainbow Six is a hazy IPA. It's close. You just don't know yet because I can't see it.
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll take that. Yeah, we don't know yet. If we don't know, if it's just below that where we're not. It's probably an IPA, but we just can't. We
don't know. We can't see it clearly yet. All right.
By the time this episode is done, we're gonna have like 8 styles denoting our opinions on things.
All right. On the 28th of this month, we have Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now they released a bunch of gameplay about this game the other day. It's 15 minutes. I watched a lot of it. It's on my it's veering towards IPA in my book right now after seeing that gameplay.
Yeah, me too. I think people are being a bit harsh on this game, personally. I don't think it needs to look as good as people were hoping it was. It doesn't look great, but it does look better than the last Pokemon game, in my opinion.
I'm not as big on my skepticism is not on the graphical side. It's more on the So like after seeing the game, I'm like, okay, they're a little more open to, they're actually having you do like missions, and like it's like, oh, can you capture this one Pokemon for me so I can see its ears to see what shape it looks like.
Good reason.
Okay, you weirdo.
So like
sure, I'll capture that
so like
Pokemon for you.
so you have to like travel out into the wilderness and find it, which is interesting. My only nervousness is it all just fetch quests like that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I do find that they showed off a boss battle that involved you as the player fighting the Pokemon for a temporary amount of time, and then revealing yours. They have a new system where you can I can't remember the titles of it, but when you're doing your regular Pokemon battles, you can either be more powerful, but take less turns. Or you can be faster but do less damage, and so there's a strategic side to it all that they're adding that I don't think was there before. So it's on my radar. I'm like this much of buying it day one. I just don't know yet.
Yeah, this is either a hazy IPA for me or a Hefeweizen, because that first trailer we got was so terrible. Like, it was like 15 frames per second and really choppy. And I will say though, and I'm just being honest, that 15-minute footage, frame rate looked not bad. It definitely looked better than the first showing. However, they really need Brandon Jones in there to edit their trailers, because when the guy hit the narration point, he said something like, I'm paraphrasing here, but like, in a world filled with Pokemon. And the shot on screen was like absolutely nothing but one Bidoof, like in the background. Like, don't you want the shot where there's actually a world filled with Pokemon? It looks so sparse, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They're trying to hit what Breath of the Wild is going for. That Mitch does actually think that world has nothing going on in it. I disagree, but if not the same people working on that world though, it looks similar. It makes me want to like this game because it was reminding me aesthetically of Breath of the Wild, but I just don't know. I don't know if I can trust reviews, because you get some people out there like whoever reviewed the Pokemon Snap at IGN. That's like a terrible review. That review read like they were sponsored by Pokemon Snap.
I will say, the one thing about like the new one is, like when it was doing when they were showing off like, oh, you can ride on a Pokemon, but in the land you can ride on the sea, and then you can take to the skies. And when they showed that one, man, did the hardware show how bad it is in regards to like how aged it is, because it literally could not load anything. It had to be foggy. And so
it looks worse than Breath of the Wild, and that game came out in 2017.
Which
it's not a hardware problem; it's an engine problem, I think.
I think it's a hardware problem, because Breath of the Wild has a similar issue, and when we get to the other Breath of the Wild, because I do think it comes out in 2022, if not gets pushed to 2023, but we'll talk about it in 2022. I also think that if this Pokemon is hampered in that way by this, I'm worried about Breath of the Wild 2 and how it's basically going to be the same game with not being as lively. But anyways, Liam, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, to what Evan said about not trusting reviews, no, I don't trust reviews for Pokemon games anymore.
Nope.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says, but Pokemon Sword and Shield is fucking atrocious. It's terrible. The story is bad. The animation is bad. The world can be pretty, but it can also be really freaking ugly at points. The whole open world sections are just useless, and people rated that game so highly, and I just do not, for the life of me, understand why. Because there's been far better examples of Pokemon games in the past, and I, like Evan said with Pokemon Snap, I just don't trust reviewers, because with Pokemon, I think there's a bit of a Nintendo sort of little Nintendo jump in there somewhere, and I think there's also a little Pokemon jump in there somewhere, where it's like people
bump.
sort of
Nintendo bump.
It's double. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a double
exactly.
bump.
Double bump.
The
And then
double Pokemon
Zelda
bump.
gets the triple bump because it's double for just being Zelda.
Yeah.
Got that trip bump going on with Breath of the Wild. I see.
Mario
Yeah.
gets the double bump because it's a double jump.
I will say I don't want to be mean to whoever reviewed Pokemon Snap. Maybe they legitimately did really enjoy it, but like Liam said, because they give the most rabid Pokemon fans at those sites to play those games, so I can't trust it.
Well,
I hope it's good, by the way. I really hope this
Mm.
game is good because I want to explore this giant world and catch Pokemon. I just see that and like there's nothing going on in this world. There's just rolling hills and sky and like several Pokemon walking around. If all I'm doing is catching Pokemon, that's not enough.
Well,
So I don't know.
going from the game that almost looks like it has nothing to a game that has been touted for having 600 hours of gameplay. Let us go to
500.
Dying Light 2 Stay Human, which comes out on February. Now we're in the month of February. February 4th, 2022. They reclarified that the 600 hours were if you were going to do all the missions, all the side missions, and then you were going to do all the different, because it's branching paths and there's alternate endings or whatever they were saying, that if you did everything, then it's 600 hours, but it's like 20-something hours.
Can I just say, Mitch, about that controversy, yes, the developers were really stupid to put a tweet like that out there, but at the same time, I can't help but need to demean people a little bit for believing that shit. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a bit stupid to believe a game like that could be 500 hours long. Saying that the game was, to complete a game, or to be a completionist in the game, used to have a very different connotation before trophies were a thing.
You mean before Evan showed up?
But before trophies showed up and achievements, yeah. But it's daft. But I also think there's a bit of daftness there from people who picked up on that story and started running with it so easily. It's just like, come on, man! Like you only have to think about it for a few minutes to realize what they were trying to say. In a game with all of these branching narrative things.
Still say they shouldn't have said it because I think it was a stupid idea.
They shouldn't have.
And I
love to be a bit more bright when it comes to this stuff.
I love how another game, and I don't know what it was, trolled them by posting their own thing saying it only takes 30 hours to finish our game.
But yeah, they said it takes us 600. It takes us as many hours to complete our game 30 times. Something like that.
to do that one. But anyway,
the Shadow Warrior 3.
This one, I'm going to say, it is on my with Heisen.
Oh.
Have you played the first one?
I can't. I could not get through that game. It was so bad.
Interesting.
I thought it was horrible. For me, I'm really picky when you do first person games, because I think naturally the game is clunky, especially when you do melee, and it has to take like something like, I give them credit for it. Cyberpunk has a really good melee system built into their first person game. Like that's something that I will give them credit for, that like they did really well, that I have not had in a lot of first person games. Dying Light just does not have good melee. I think it's horrible. And so I had to put my controller down maybe after 6 hours because I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I really can't.
How was the parkouring stuff for you?
Nah. Again, I think it's like Mirror's Edge did it better. Like I just like it was not as, I don't think it was as intuitive as Mirror's Edge is. I felt like it was doing everything not as well, and it added up to being like, oh wow, this is just not enjoyable. And I guess the setting's not my cup of tea. I'm over the zombie genre and why, and the setup for the story was pretty bad, of like, oh, just kind of show up and just like meet these people.
I think Burkoff would be right next to you. I know he is a very overtly can't find the words, but he anytime he any chance he get, he'll say, I'm sick of zombies. I'm done with zombies," type of thing. So
Yeah, he's
I'm pretty
he's,
sure
a,
he'd
he's
be
a
right.
zombie stan.
Outspoken was the word I was looking for.
What's
guess
what's
zombie
your beers on this one, fellas?
I was going to say, on the opposite end of the spectrum,
Oh god.
I am the zombie stan. I love the zombies. Give me more
Yeah,
zombies. I don't
just
give a
talked about
shit.
it on Twitter.
I ignore all of the shitty zombie fiction that's out there. Fuck that stuff. Give me more good zombie stuff. And I love Dying Light 1. Although I can attest that early in Dying Light 1, it's kind of like you've got like just a big foam like bats that you're hitting all of the enemies with early in that game, and you're just like, it's doing nothing to them. But when you get later in the game, I would say the combat really comes into its own and feels really visceral and kinetic. So yeah, I'm really excited for Dying Light 2. I'm not sure I'll play it straight away because I think other games that we'll mention soon take more precedent. And, for a big open world game like that, it gives them a chance to fix some of the bugs that will probably be there at launch. But I think it's going to be a really good game, and I'm really excited. It looks like they've improved on all of the things that I found to be problems in the first game. And yeah, I think I'm going to probably be playing this throughout the summer and enjoying the hell out of it. Oh, so this is an IPA. So
Evan?
Hazy IPA for me. So I'm actually sick of zombie stuff in general. Although, Liam, as we both know, the only thing you need to do is hand something over to South Korea, and they're just going to make it good.
yeah,
They're
exactly. Yeah.
killing it, man. Not embarrassing Japan with the quality of their shows recently. Hellbound was so good, and
I still
that
haven't
new
watched
show
it.
that starts in the high school. Maybe it'll uh, go out into the streets, into the city itself. But that was a great trailer for that zombie outbreak film, or
What,
TV series rather.
I'm like, maybe that will make up for the awful sequel to Train to Busan, because, oh, Jesus.
There was a sequel. Oh
There is
no!
a sequel to Train to Busan, and it is god awful. Avoid at all costs.
That's
Do not watch Peninsula.
okay.
Yeah.
So I liked Dying Light, and I even played through the DLC as well because I had bought the full pack. I like the parkouring, and I'm a Mirror's Edge fan as well. I think the second game wasn't very good, but I will say, Mitch, like because there's a skill tree involved in that game, some of the parkouring is quite boring until you get like more cool moves to do. And then towards the end of the game, you are flying through that city and no one can touch you, and you don't really have to fight. But I do get where you're coming from with the brick wall or the wall that you hit.
Yeah.
The only thing I hated about Dying Light, and this like knocked the game down. I remember talking about it with Vin on Podcast Reload. It knocked it down to a 7 to me. It's super harsh, I know, but the viral zombies, I hate those zombies. And what I mean by that is it's the faster zombies that every now and then they'll pop out of nowhere and they'll follow you. They're like parkouring zombies. They're very fast. Sometimes it's hard to get away from them, and you have to kind of just stop and deal with them. And later in the game, and especially the DLC, they just keep spawning way too frequently, where I'm just trying to get to my destination, and I have to stop to deal with this and they're so annoying because you can hear them following. It's like, fucking leave me alone!
Well,
I'm just trying to get to
you're
point
not
B.
a fan of Mr. X, so that probably that comes like
Yeah,
with that
I guess-
territory.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe it is tied to something like that. It's like, stop! And I'm of course they're gonna have this in this game. The other reason it's hazy is because it's been in development. They've pushed back the release date so many times, and the way they talk about this game, it seems so ambitious when they're talking about these factions and the choices you make are really going to matter, and you're going to see it in the way the city evolves. And then, like, how much of that is real and how much of that is marketing speak? We won't know until the game comes out.
Yeah, the game in my regards, I think people are overhyping the game way too much. That's where my big element is coming in, is like, it's not as big as like Cyberpunk 2077 when the reporters were the ones really boasting the hype. It's the people talking about this game that are boasting up this hype for this game, which is like, I don't know. This studio's giving me the same talk I've heard for 10 years. oh, all these plot points are going to make a difference in the story. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
when I really see a difference, I'll let you know. Like, seeing is believing, bub. Like,
Yeah.
so moving
Well,
on.
I was just going to say, Mitch, it's funny we're talking about this branch in narrative. I think there's still a question as to whether the narrative will even be good to begin with.
Yeah, that's the other. Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm not too concerned about that with a game like that, but yeah, if it's 500 hours to complete or whatever. I know what you mean about the 500 hours thing. Like, very clear that means 100% every single thing in the game. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, it is as the the product reaches the ambition, at least what the devs have been talking about with all those interworking systems and so on and so forth.
well, instead of playing Dying Light on the 8th, which is 4 days later, I'm gonna be IPAing some Sifu.
Mm.
That game just looks good. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Like, it just looks good. I don't. I mean, once we get our hands on it, I think that's going to be the ultimate factor of whether this game is really good. But man, this game's looking good.
yeah,
Is that a full IPA across the boards, fellas?
I think so. By my standards, yeah, definitely. I love all of the aspects of that game. I just love the fact that you age every time you die. I think that's awesome.
All right.
I really hope this game lives up to its trailers.
I'm maybe a sour ale on this game only because okay, so I have a physical copy of Hades and I've played it exactly one time. Earlier in the year I played Dead
Oh.
Cells and I'm playing this game. I'm like, if this was just a regular single player Metroidvania, it would be such a better game. And then everyone loves Hades, and I played Hades up until the first boss, and I died in the first boss, and it sends you back, and I turned it off, and I haven't played it since. I'm like, I will go back to Hades because that's basically
you're doing a disservice, man.
sacrilege. But
It's great.
I will play Hades. I will beat Hades this year. I'll say it right now. I promise. But it's made me realize I do not like roguelites at all.
But this
And
isn't
the
a
idea of
roguelike.
like you
When
you keep going
when
until you
you-
get old, but if you get too old, you'll die and you have to start over. I saw Giant Bomb Unfinished where they keep going in the same club and doing the
Yeah.
same things
Well,
over and over.
because when you
It is
die,
a bit of a
you have
roguelike.
to do the same level, but you're just older.
Oh, so once you get through the level, it'll move forward?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's like
you
it's
don't
like
go back to the
sectional
top, yeah.
roguelite.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I would say though, Mitch, the way it is like a roguelike in some ways is if you get too old and you die, you have to go back to the start of the game, but you retain some skills and stuff. So it is kind of roguelike-ish. It's just not
A little more
like
forgiving. It's a little
yeah,
more forgiving.
a lot more forgiving, I would say.
Yeah.
But I imagine, I'm assuming that the game won't allow you to get through it the first time, on your first life, I should say, unless you're really good at it. I don't know what the difficulty is going to be like.
Now,
That's
we'll just see when
slightly-
it comes out.
That's slightly reassuring. Actually, they're gonna have to name this roguelite system something else. If games that were roguelites sectioned off, so you didn't actually have to play the entire game again when you died, and if you cleared a certain section, then you started from there. I actually might get into that more.
You just call it a video game.
Just call it a video game.
Because, like, seriously,
Yeah.
if
looks cool,
if you die and come back until you finish the level, that's like every other video game you play that doesn't need a title, of what kind of video game it's like. All right, so this one can be a quickie. King of Fighters 15. I don't know anything about this, therefore I'm not going to say anything about this.
Don't care.
No.
Moving on. All right, that's on the 17th of February, and also on the 17th of February we have Total War Warhammer 3. I am also on the meh. No, not my genre.
I'll say on behalf of one of my friends, IPA. It's IPA for someone out there. Somebody's. Well, I know a lot of people are very excited for that.
All right, moving on. Then the next day, I think more people are excited about this. On the 18th of February, we have Horizon Forbidden West. That is an IPA. If anything was an IPA.
That is a very, very dank, piney, citrusy IPA if there ever was one. It's gonna be delicious.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious.
I mean, it looks like it's growing from everything they had in the first game, and that's all you could ever ask for.
Yep,
Mm.
it's an easy one.
And it
What
looks
more
looks
really
even
needs to be
better.
said, really? I just can't wait to fight some of those new machines.
I just
Really
can't wait to
The
excited.
see some of
Cobra.
those environments. It still looks gorgeous. And like I'll have to play it on my PlayStation 4 Pro, but it'll still look gorgeous. Like that
I'll,
game's
I'll
Really
definitely.
good.
that game's
Oh,
beautiful.
sorry. I'll definitely be interested to see if they can top the story in the first game. When it comes to the sort of lore in the world, because that first game is really great. It really sucks you in, and I must admit, after replaying it, I do sort of feel like there are a few sort of teasers in there as to where they could go.
Really.
And Mitch, you need to play the DLC because the DLC has some good shit in it, and I think there's a lot of stuff that's alluding to stuff that's going to be a part of the second game in there. I definitely, and that gets me pretty excited.
I just hope the story doesn't get overly complicated with all these AI
Yeah,
systems that were set into place, and like they're gonna bring out some of the other ones that were in there. You got like the red one, the bad one, and the fail state one, and we'll see what happens. Just don't
I
don't.
don't.
I'm fine with a complicated narrative. Just don't overly complicate it.
I don't know about you, Evan, but I kind of hope they've conceived this franchise as a trilogy. Because if I feel like if they
I'd be
wanted
fine
to
with
go
that.
further than that, then maybe they would make the narrative way too convoluted for its own good.
I mean, if they have a story to tell in a trilogy, sure. I just
Mm.
don't stretch it beyond what it needs to be. But of course, these games. I mean, how much did the first game sell outside of like PC? Like over 10 million for sure, right?
I think so. It was a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So they'll probably most likely keep making them. I just hope that they can, not do like a Dexter season final season type of thing, or Game of Thrones for that matter.
Well,
Oh
we
no.
have a short amount of time to beat that one because you know what? 7 days later, in accompaniment to it, which is probably some of I mean, these two are neck and neck for people's going to be game of the year.
Yeah.
We have Elden Ring, which I love Souls games, but I'm a meh on Elden Ring.
Oh wow. Shit. Wow.
Why?
Wow.
I don't see anything unique about it.
Uh, um,
For our audio listeners, Liam took a theoretical finger gun to his mouth and was pulling the trigger.
no,
Um,
I mean that's fair enough.
I
I'm so excited. So
Hi McWomble, though you're gone. He's asking how the PlayStation love is going.
you came right before
Yeah,
Horizon.
he came too late. Horizon, we already just did Horizon, so it's too late.
Well, no, he came when we were talking about Sifu, so he got here just in time, I
Oh,
think.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, I'm a meh on that one. It's just there's I don't see anything new and unique. I was more excited about Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice because that offered a unique spin to the genre. I think it offered the combat is vastly different than any of the Soul games that came before it. So I just don't see what this, and I don't know what people see, and maybe they just want more of the same, and that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. To each their own. But to me, I don't see it. I was more excited for something like a Sekiro style change than a just Souls game that's a little more open world that has a
Well,
pot man.
I'll say that I wouldn't want all Souls games to become like Sekiro from now on because Sekiro has a very different kind of combat system that is quite different to get your head around. That by comparison, that like the game you have to implore completely different strategies when dealing with Sekiro compared to Dark Souls.
But that's what made it great.
And
It
yeah,
evolved something that you
no,
were
no,
familiar
it,
with. It made
I
it something
don't see
new.
it. I don't see it as an evolution. I see it as a pivot in a different direction. Um, which is great. I hope Sekiro gets a sequel someday. But personally, for me, I'm not that great at Sekiro. I'm not great at the timing of that combat. I'm far more pragmatic in my patience and my ability to sort of strategize what I'm going to do with any enemy and monitor my health meter and things like that. And I mean, I would be happy with a Dark Souls 4 because I love Dark Souls. And Elden Ring to me just looks like Dark Souls 4 with a new coat of paint and a new interesting world and a new kind of design philosophy behind it, which I'm interested in. It could fall flat on its face, to be honest. But I don't know. I just have faith that the developers are probably going to create a open world environment that probably has a lot more to do in it than most open world games, and feels far more cohesive and well put together than most. All of the early previews sort of made that seem pretty likely, to be honest. And ever since the previews, I've just been very excited for it, and I just can't wait to get immersed in that world.
Evan?
Yeah, that's an IPA for me as well. I've only ever played Bloodborne,
Mm.
and it took one of my friends pressing me, and he actually walked me through the game. Like, all right, this is probably the build that you want, and then walking me through how the game works. And then once I got to the first boss and I beat him, he was like, "That's it. That's all I'm doing." He was over just for the weekend, and he left, and I was there to figure out the rest of the game for myself. And
Oh,
I
good.
appreciate that he
Yeah.
did that because I was. It's definitely one of those
Mm.
games that you hear, like the Souls games, right? You hear so much about how difficult they were, and I was just so not necessarily afraid, but like I'm like I just don't think this is the style of game for me. But I fell in love with Bloodborne. I played the shit out of it. We co-opted half the game, and then he moved, and all sorts of things happened. But this will only be my second game. However, and speaking with Liam and how you had said that they're probably going to set up an open world in more interesting ways than most other games that take a crack at it, is because when you look at it, and I can only speak for Bloodborne, when you look at these little, I'm not gonna, biomes, as everyone says
Mm.
now, these little areas in each of the games, they're so intricately and not geniusly, I don't want to be hyperbolic, just so intricately and very cleverly designed where things start you feel so lost when you go to a new area, and the more you explore it, things start wrapping around each other. You find a ladder to lower and things start connecting together. They're just very very um, cleverly crafted, that I think that the whoever the level designers are, expanding that into an open world game, I think they're going to put that From Software touch on that open world where they're really going to think hard about very specific areas and how things are going to connect and wrap around, and
Well,
those diehard. Go ahead.
that's the funny thing, Evan, is that a lot of people would have already considered Dark Souls 1, not Dark Souls 2, but Dark Souls 1 and 3 and Bloodborne to be sort of semi-open world already in some ways because of their heavily sort of Metroidvanian design philosophy behind them. Um,
You could totally miss big
yeah,
chunks of that game if you're not paying attention, for sure.
yeah, yeah. Um, so
And I
I don't
love
think you're
how
wrong.
right, and I love how they realized, like, oh, you know what? Exploring is more fun than punishing a player for trying to explore. So just fall damage, we're just gonna like mitigate most of that because we want them to poke and prod this world without being afraid that they're gonna try to make a jump and accidentally die and get you know kicked back to their bonfire or whatever they're calling them. So yeah, I pre-ordered this game, and I know pre-orders suck, but what I do is I pre-order at a specific brick and mortar store, and the game in Japan is like $90. So if I pre-order, they cut that down by about 10. If I'm going to put it into US dollars, that's the only reason I pre-order.
Uh,
But yeah,
Makes sense.
I'm look only my second FromSoft game, but yeah, I looking forward to seeing how FromSoft tackles an open world is what I'm most
Well,
interested in
I
seeing.
hope that if you enjoy this, Evan, I hope it makes you want to go back and play Dark Souls 1 or Demon Souls or Dark Souls 3.
It might, and I
love
have a
those
PlayStation
games.
5 now, so I could play the
Well,
remake,
those
right?
games are so much better at 60 FPS. It's just like unreal. Like
Sure.
I'm starting to find those games borderline unplayable at 30. To be honest.
It, I'm a big the reason I like Bloodborne so much is my dad is a massive H.P. Lovecraft fan, and
Mm.
I knew what Cthulhu was when I was like 8 years old. It was very very strange. I went to go see. I saw David Fincher's Alien 3 when I was in second grade of elementary school. My dad
Oh
is very.
Jesus.
Okay, he took me because he was such a massive an Alien fan, and yeah, maybe not the movie to
Yeah.
take a 7-year-old child to, but I loved it. I ate it up. I'm like, they're saying fuck so much, but
Yeah. That film's kind of
I
fucked
sorry.
mean,
up.
I went to the first
In the best way.
Resident Evil movie at 7 years old with my dad, so
Isn't it funny
it's
how
completely relatable.
parents are so conservative when it comes to the unknown, but if it's something they like, they're
Yeah.
totally just like waving away their like
Yeah.
parental responsibility.
screw it.
Like Alien 3 is not a 7-year-old should not see that film.
Yeah, same
But,
with Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, totally. So sorry, I digress. The thing that drew me into Bloodborne was the kind of Lovecraftian elements of it, and I like the aesthetic. And Dark Souls, I'm not necessarily into that per se, but the worlds look interesting enough, and Elden Ring is kind of more my thing, aesthetically. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I'm going to quickly go through these, and then you can stop me if you want to discuss, because some of these I don't think we want to, but I still want us to give our beer vote on these games.
Yeah.
You ready? Same day, the 25th. Instead of Elden Ring, aka some people's game of the century, game of the year, game of I want to masturbate to it all day long. Sorry, YouTube. What was it? Instead of that, you could play Grid Legends. I forgot what our med beer is called.
What the hell is that?
What's our med beer?
Met sour?
beer.
Met sour.
ale.
That's a sour ale for me. Grid, the
Same.
racing series. Evan. That
Oh, vroom vroom vroom.
vroom
I'm not playing vroom
vroom
vroom.
vroom got bought by EA. Vroom vroom. This is EA's first game with Codemasters.
Oh,
Yeah.
Codemasters.
This is
right,
Codemasters' first game that is produced by EA after they got purchased.
Technically, F1 2022 was, but close enough.
Well, it's our first Grid game.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah. First game that isn't annual title. I guess.
This one's a sour for me. What do you think, Evan? What's yours?
yeah, it's a sour ale for me. I am off the grid.
Liam.
Yeah, it's sour for me as well. To be honest, I don't know enough about this one, and I don't really get what makes it that much more compelling than a past grid entry.
Well, it
be honest.
gets high review scores, and that's all that matters in fantasy drafts.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a sleeper, this is the one.
Yeah.
All right. So after that, we have the 3rd of February. Oh, no, March. I'm sorry. There are 3 games that come out the 3rd of March. You ready for this? Here we go. Quickly. Triangle Strategy. I know Evan's going to love this one. This is his IPA, I bet.
No, I hate tactics games.
Oh, wow. Wow. Shanghai Dan is going to be disappointed.
Oh yeah, and Matthew.
Yeah, I think Matt wants to wait till they eventually port it to it goes on Steam,
Linux.
which they also did with Octopath Traveler. It sucks because this is what it's such a great looking game. Like I want every Super Nintendo JRPG to be remade and to look like this. I would play all of them. It looks so
Yeah.
good, but I do not like tactics games. I couldn't get past the second battle in the first Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, okay.
I don't like them because I'm
Yeah.
bad at them. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I totally I wear that crown. I suck at them, therefore I don't like them. So
also
it looks great. Yeah.
So
Don't
also
like
coming out that day, we have Babylon's Fall.
Oh, that is probably my biggest. Oh, geez. Hess. What was it? The last.
Oh, Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen.
I picked a bad beer. I picked a bad beer name, by the way, but whatever. We'll go
That's
through it.
fine. That is Hefeweizen out the Wazak dude.
Okay, I think
Same.
we're all Hefeweizen on that one. And then Gran Turismo
Yeah, this is
7.
Oh wait, no, sorry. Babylon's Fall, more like Babylon's Fail. Am I right?
Yeah, because it got the word fall in its name. It's already got that strike against it in the
Oh,
McWomble
yeah.
Code of Ethics. All right, so Gran Turismo 7 is also coming out that day.
If there was any racing game I'm interested in, Gran Turismo 7 would probably be the one.
I don't like any racing games, so it's just not on my list. I bet it's going to be great, but I don't like racing games.
If you're
Liam,
looking
you're
for
more of a simulation. Simulation
no,
kind of?
I'm
No?
more arcade, but when it comes to simulation, I think Gran Turismo has had a few missteps over the years since the PlayStation 3, but I think they've finally got the formula back again, and I think if they just build on everything they did with Gran Turismo Sport, I think this one's going to be really good, and I think that they'll finally have a spot in the market again, because if you like Forza Motorsport, that's great, but it doesn't sort of give you the same sort of simulation experience that a Gran Turismo would.
I wasn't going to include this one, but I'm going to do it anyway for Matt.
Oh.
Matt, you better be listening to this episode. Yeah, where's the camera? You ready for this? This is a racing game he would enjoy. You ready for this? Chocobo GP. That comes out.
Is this a remake or a remaster?
No, it's just its own game.
There was a
March
sort of Chocobo racing game, I think, on like the PlayStation 1 or something. So it's kind of like a spiritual successor to a game, I think.
Yep, and it's coming for the Switch. Yeah. So, that's just for fun. All right, now back to the actual real games that are coming out. Yeah, so on the 18th of March, we have Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that another. Jesus, I can't remember the word
Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen.
It's a Hefeweizen for me too, my man. Well, there's got to be a lot to change my mind on that one, so we'll have to see. Evan, is that a Hefeweizen?
Will they kill Chaos? Who knows?
Where is Chaos? Is he on vacation?
Yeah.
That is, in recent memory, that is one of the most ridiculously stupid trailers that I have seen. And I'm obsessed with reaction videos. I know it's it's my terrace house. It's my shit TV. To me, is reaction videos, and I fully admit it. I watch so many videos where people are like, "What the fuck is this game? Who cut this trailer and thought any of this was a good idea?" It's one of the worst showings that I've seen recently from a reveal trailer. And then the second, Damiani from Easy Allies had played through the they had like a vertical slice
demo.
A demo, and there's that part where whatever the main character's name is, and they kill Chaos, or they think they kill Chaos, and he's like, "I don't care," and he pulls out like his iPod and he plays what sounds like Limp Bizkit, and he walks away from the party. It's like, and Damiani's like, "What the fuck?" And he loses it. Watch that, anyone, if you're listening, watch that clip. Just type in Easy Allies Stranger of Paradise Damiani reaction or something like that, and it just compounds how terrible the reveal was with that demo. I'm just like, I don't care how it plays. I bounce off this like a giant Super Ball from a concrete wall.
You know what? Also,
maybe you found the niche for this product, Evan. Maybe you have. Maybe this is the game that's going to be reacted to for years to come.
Yeah, I'll watch. Maybe I'll just watch someone play it. Just a 15-hour long reaction video, and that'll be enough for me.
You know what also bounces around?
Heavy Rain.
Jason.
So what else bounces around? Teeny Tiny's Wonderland. Or Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I'm so sorry.
Teeny Tina? Whatever.
That's the 25th of March.
Yeah,
I have no affiliation with Borderlands. I have no connection to Borderlands. I have no interest in this game.
I love Borderlands, but this just... I don't know. This doesn't interest me.
All right, moving on. We have something that is slightly interesting, I think, only because I just don't... The first game was okay, and I'm curious if it's going to be upgraded a little bit more. Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song comes out on May 19th. Now, the first one was okay. It's like a good first try. It looks like they've evolved the mechanics a little more. This is not the PvP multiplayer shooter. This is an actual sequel to the original.
Or the one
This
in
is third
development hell.
person.
Yes. It features a woman. I'm
I'm so confused as to what these games are. I've never played one, but I hear the name all the time. Like, I don't know when they came out, what they're about, what genre they are. I have no idea.
I recommend, Evan, you go watch the trailer for this one. I think you might be interested.
Okay. Oh, I'll
it's not
take
an
a watch
IPA
at the
for
trailer.
me, but it's like a hazy IPA. It's like it's kind of interesting. I'm open to seeing more, and it's got till May, so I have a feeling that we'll see a lot more of this game coming up to the release date. And after that, on the same month of May, the 24th, we have Forspoken. This is a hell of an IPA for me, fellas.
Oh, okay.
This is maybe my IPA of the year.
Really?
In regards to underestimated games, I think I'm excited about the writers that are working on the project. I loved Final Fantasy 14. No, 15.
14.
Sorry, 15. I can never tell. There's so many of them. I really loved 15. I love the combat system. I like the elements they were playing with, and I see some of that inspiration in this game too. And God, the game looks so damn beautiful. Like the way that she transforms the water into ice, and it's just so game is gorgeous, and I'm captivated in so many ways of curiosity about this world in every way possible. So sign me up. It is the clear of clear IPA. I think this game is going to be a hot ticket item, probably more than a hot ticket item than people expected.
I'm definitely right in the middle on this one. Like, right in the middle. For everything I like about it, I have something I'm very trepidatious about. Literally everything. I'm like, this game is being written by Amy Hennig and Gary Whitta and a bunch of people I really like and I think are good writers. But then I hear the dialogue and I'm like, that sounds bad. You know? I'm like, that's confusing. It should sound better. You know? And I'm like, this world looks awesome and it looks beautiful at times, but then it also looks empty a lot of the time. And I'm like, but the combat system looks great, but at the same time, that there's the character going, oh my god, I just did an explosion. I'm like, oh no.
I think you're trepidatious about the trailer, but usually, most of the times, the trailers do the over inner monologue talking in trailers than they actually do in the real game. And also, like, they've only shown one environment. I highly doubt that's the only environment you travel around. And maybe and it seems like they're only showing concern. They seem to be looking like it shows only the beginning of the game, and so maybe that's just the beginning.
Right. Maybe. You know, I mean, I like the voice actor that they've got.
She's
not a voice actor, she's more an actress in life, but I like her as an actress. I like the other woman that they got there. She was in The Walking Dead. I can't remember her name, but she's great. I think more than anything else, I really hope this game's good, and I don't want it to fail because I like all of the people involved, and I'll be sad if the game isn't what it should be. But I can't help but be trepidatious about it, so it's definitely a sour for me.
All right, Evan, where are you at?
Yeah, I think I'm with Liam for the same reasons. Now, Mitch, I like Final Fantasy 15 a lot. When that game first started out and there's a tutorial with Gladys with the combat, it's just so foreign at the beginning. We're like, I don't like this at all. This is weird.
To the game's credit, that actually was added later. That was not the original intro.
Okay. I'm very, very happy for because I played the game years and years later.
The actual intro is the actual intro of the game, which is the pushing of the car. That's the original intro of the game. There is no like go through you're in this room with Gladys to learn the combat and then go walk and read about the world. Like none of that was in the original first version of the game when it was released on day one.
Well, that's good. So they learned from that and then updated the game many, many times, and then they learned from that, and maybe they can bring that on to Forspoken. But what I'm trying to say is, eventually, like you, I learned to love that combat. When you really get into it, and you like, it gets to that point, and this is very true for lots of games. When you get into the flow of combat, you're in the zone. You're not even thinking about it. It's just natural. You're doing it, and you're just phasing in and out with Noctis, and you're throwing your sword, you're doing these combos, you're ordering your crew to take care of the enemies, and it's just, when you get in that zone, it's so good. So, like you, I think I do trust them. Like, they took from Final Fantasy 15, they improved it, they released the game 8 times with so much DLC, it's confusing. But then they got to a point where it made sense, and the combat was good, and tightened up, and so this is like another shot at that, so maybe it isn't even better. But also, as Liam had said, like the writers on there, with Amy Hennig and Gary Whitta, 2 names, like, oh, you have my attention, and then you hear oh fuck, I fucking she does not sound like this at all, but why is she Southern? She's like, oh fuck, I shot that Latin bout right out of my fingers. Holy shit!
I do declare.
I do declare. Oh, now she's a Southern belle with a lemonade and a little handkerchief.
I got done watching. So on HBO Max they have the Roots TV series.
Oh, like the old school proper Roots. Yeah.
And I've only seen the first 2 episodes of it ever in my life. So I decided to watch the whole series, and that's also what I was doing in bed the last 2 days.
Prepare to be depressed.
But I begin a lot of that. Wow, I begin a lot of that Southern master, and I do declare, don't you talk about that around that boy.
Only Mitch would get a booster shot and then watch Roots. What kind of combination of things is that? Yeah.
I mean, it helps with the self-pity, right? Like, some people have got it worse.
Right, there you go. Yeah, try to balance things out, right? But yeah, so there's like Liam, just to wrap this all up, like, I see a lot of good, but I see a lot of I'm not sure yet. I hope it's good, because there's a lot there to like, and the team behind it, I have hopes for.
So which one? Which one is it, Evan? Is it a smoky IPA?
I'll push it towards a hazy IPA.
Hazy. Okay.
I'm being that is me at my most optimistic for this game.
Okay. All right. Moving on to a game that I am all in that grill of the McHighland, Saints Row, because holy cow, the thing looks too realistic. And I can't believe I'm saying that about a video game. But for a game that I love how much it is meta and is very much a fourth wall breaking game, this seemed to have lost all the charm that it had. And it just looks like GTA on drugs, which is okay, but not exactly what I've come to love about the Saints Row series. And I think because they've been gone for such a long time, I think they had a really ample opportunity to be able to really blow our minds, especially with the way technology has evolved, to really do something amazing with a new Saints Row game. And I feel as if they are falling really short, and maybe they're just hiding it. I don't know. But right now, it seems to me not like a legit Saints Row game.
Yeah, I kind of get that, to be fair. To be honest, I don't like the new cast of characters. They seem kind of, I don't know, just uninteresting, and they should be more eccentric. And I think the game looks beautiful, but I kind of get what you mean about, like, maybe having a more cartoonish art style would really sort of benefit the kind of Saints Row vibe.
Well, I don't even think the art, like, yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But I think because of what you said about the characters just then, of like how they're not uninteresting, I think if
That's
they
too
kept this art
realistic and not
style,
cartoony now.
yeah, if they kept this art style, I think they could still pull it off. It's just they have to have the right characters, and I think the characters
Right.
are too
Okay.
serious.
Okay. I totally get you now. Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. The only thing that I have motivating me is I've seen the gameplay and the gameplay looks great. So I can't like be too negative about it, and I know I'm just going to play this in co-op with a buddy, and probably not care that much about the story. I'll probably just have a really good time mucking around with the open world. So that for that reason, I get everything you're talking about, but I would say I'm like a hazy IPA about it.
Evan, you love Saints Row the Fourth.
Actually, I do.
Where's your thought on this one?
This is a sour ale. Only because, Rafa, I love you, buddy, but I just don't. So I played a huge amount of GTA 3, a decent amount of GTA 4. I beat GTA 5, and I probably spent more time golfing in that game than anything else, while drunk with my friends. But I
Nice.
really don't care about those games, and I never like the Saints Row franchise wasn't even in my peripheral until I just not interested in the way it looked, what you do in the game. I don't care about driving in a semi-realistic city. Like I played 10 or 15 minutes of what's the game, the tech open world game, Watch Dogs,
Oh yeah, Watch
right?
Dogs.
I lived in Chicago for 2 years, right? I'm from Milwaukee.
Oh
A
yeah.
big chunk of my family lives in Chicago. You start that game off in Wrigley Field, like I know that neighborhood. I know it very, very well. I know the highway very, very well. Did not care. I stopped playing after 15 minutes. The San
Yeah.
Francisco one, Watch Dogs 2, I played the demo, not my thing. So I've tried, and the only thing that got me into Saints Row 4 is people saying like it's not what you think it is. You're like a superhero. You fly around the city and it's ridiculous and it's fun. And I know that they've always cranked it up to 11 to differentiate themselves from Grand Theft Auto because you have to, because you cannot be you can't beat Grand Theft Auto. So you have to find a new like another hitch, right? And I'm glad I took I dove into Saints Row 4 because that game is awesome. But this game is not that. They're going back to, I guess, closer to Saints Row 3, which I know a lot of people really, really like that game. And Liam, I do get where you're coming from, where if I could sit on the couch with my brother and play this game, I'm sure I would have an absolute
Yeah.
blast. That's almost guaranteed. Because the game
Mm.
does like the final trailer, the actual reveal trailer they showed, not the CG one from the initial reveal. It's like, okay, this looks fun, and I'm sure it is, but I can't get past that. Like I don't want to drive around a city and shoot guns and like just all that type of stuff. It just doesn't really interest me that much. But
Yeah.
saying this, I do understand why people will want to play this game.
I mean, I totally agree with both of you, and to be honest, even with my general excitement of playing this with a friend, I still consider Saints Row to be a heavy sort of poor man's Grand Theft Auto. So it's just it doesn't have the same appeal to me.
All right.
Is Keith David a going to be in this game as a character?
Probably not. That's another
That's
knock against it.
that's disappointing because
It is
he was
disappointing.
one of the best parts about Saints Row 4.
All right, moving on. The final game that has a release date, and then we'll move to speculative games. We have. You guys know what it is?
Starfield?
Oh yeah.
Starfield.
All right.
Burkoff, you're with us in spirit. I feel you.
Mm.
I feel your presence through the ether.
Um,
Should I go first before you guys probably rip into this one?
be my guest.
Okay, yeah. I can't wait for this game. While fully acknowledging that it might not be everything I hope it to be, but I think even if it is some of what I'm hoping it'll be, I'll still enjoy the hell out of it because I love those Bethesda style games, and I don't think Fallout 4 was as bad as a lot of people
Mitch,
thought it
please
was.
smile while Liam is talking. You have to smile while Liam is talking. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
Liam.
Does the rule impact you at all, Mitch?
How does this
I
work?
don't know.
This is kind
This
of a
might be a
gray
bit hard
zone
for him.
here.
You might have to
Sorry,
take
Liam.
up some of the slack here, Evan. Yeah, but I just love it. I love that Todd Howard wants to do a deep and interesting sci-fi universe. All of the stuff that they've put out there about it already that I've read sounds really interesting and super awesome. And I'm like, yeah, this could be like a sci-fi universe that could be held next to something like Mass Effect, And I'm like, yeah, super cool. That sounds interesting. And then it's all about the finished product and how all of these things come together, and if every planet feels the same or different. Um, I think people have because Fallout 76 is a piece of shit game, and it was not made by Bethesda's main team. And Bethesda's main team have been busy working on this game since they wrapped up Fallout 4, and they knew they were going to be doing this game for a long time because that's why they tried to make Fallout 76 into this big deal. And I've known they've been working on Starfield since the end of Fallout 4 for a long time, and I think production has gone smoothly. I haven't heard anything to the contrary on that, and I can't help but be very excited for it. And I think they must recognise that their engine is hot garbage when compared to every other engine that is running games these days. And I hope to God they've made the right upgrades and changes to their internal engine, because oh my God, they need to do that. But yeah, this is an IPA for me, and I'm really excited, and I hope it lives up to its potential.
I'll be quick. It's a sour ale for me. One, I can't play it because I only have a PlayStation 5.
I will get
I'm not much of like a space game guy. It's not to say that I wouldn't play one if the narrative was interesting, but I don't know about. I haven't been following the game. I don't know much about it, so for me, it's a sour.
I'm
Mitch.
legally obligated to say that Bethesda is an amazing studio that makes amazing video games. With that being said, I cannot make a vote on this one. Because Bethesda is an amazing studio that makes amazing video games. But I will say, for an amazing studio that makes amazing video games, we know nothing about this video game. Just saying. And there was another game that we didn't know a lot about this game last year. It didn't go so well. But Bethesda is an amazing studio that makes amazing video games.
What was the other game? Sorry, I've forgotten.
May have a 277 in there.
Oh, Cyberpunk. Gotcha. But that one's not by Bethesda, so you could shit on that one as much as you like.
But again, we don't know anything about this game. We've seen nothing. So I don't know what this game actually is. So, but Bethesda makes amazing video games. Since you can't
say it, Mitch. Since you can't say it, I can say there may be a connection between Cyberpunk 2077 and Starfield. Some person may be drawing that conclusion. I don't know, but it probably could be somebody here, but it might not be.
Who was right about that? When everyone else was telling you crazy, and I said no, Cyberpunk's gonna go bad. I promise you.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing, but I didn't think it would be half as broken as it was. I thought, 6 months, it'll be good. Oh.
But I will say this about Bethesda. They do make their release dates.
Yeah.
Regardless of how well it goes.
Yeah. We'll see if they can pull it off in the middle of the pandemic.
But they do make amazing video games. Moving on to other games. Before I sound like a broken record. I'm so sorry. I'm contractually obligated to say so. And hopefully I didn't break any rules with my with the way I was sneaking in some other inputs on there. But anyway, McWomble hopefully doesn't come for my job. So let's go to the games that don't have release dates. There's a lot of them. So we're just going to go really quick through a lot of them and then maybe stop at 3 or 4 along the way. But here's what I got of thinking 2022. And we'll probably just do the heavy hitters. So first one on my list I see is Ghostwire Tokyo. I am a total McHaven on that one for me, fellas.
Starting to sound like a Jewish word. I'll take it. I think everyone knows what you mean. I'm a hazy IPA. I like seeing new ideas or something that I haven't seen before. You see the same shit over and over. It's like, all right, this is different. I am interested. Obviously, I live in Japan, so that probably says something about my choice here. But I like seeing something that doesn't look like anything else. Although gameplay-wise, I don't know how deep the combat is or how polished it is another issue here. So yeah, I'm on the fence a little bit. Is that a hazy? I suppose that's a hazy for me. Liam?
Yeah, I'd say I'm the same because despite all of the trailers, we still don't have a very good idea of how the game will work.
Oh
you know?
shit!
Like story-wise?
I'm sorry, I can't
What's
say
this?
I can't say that, fellas. Bethesda's an amazing studio that makes amazing
Yeah.
video games. I can't say that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Never mind.
don't worry, Mitch. Don't worry. We know you love this game, and we know you love
I'm
Bethesda.
so excited. I'm so excited.
Right.
But I think one thing, even though I can't remember her first name, but Nakamura, who was the developer on this, left the project, which is a shame because she's just entertaining as hell, and
Ikumi.
she's been involved
Ikumi Nakamura. Yeah.
Ikumi Nakamura. She's awesome. It's such a shame she couldn't finish her game. But at least it seems that wasn't anything to do with like some sort of conflict going on. It was more to do with her being pregnant and I guess
Turned
wanting
out, maybe.
to do something
Who
else
knows?
afterwards. Yeah, and I trust Shinji Mikami. Like that guy has done nothing to make me not trust him on anything he's doing.
Oh,
So
always give
maybe-
him a chance.
Nah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and maybe the fact that the game isn't out yet is a good indication that he's like, yeah, we're going to sort this out and we're going to ship a really good product in the end there. And I could see this being a sleeper hit of the year, kind of the way Deathloop was last year. So yeah, I'm sort of excited, a little bit trepidatious, but excited all the same.
Bayonetta 3. Now I'm an IPA on that.
IPA.
I tried playing Bayonetta 2 on the Switch and found I found it kind of hard to play with. Okay, first of all, I played it in handheld mode, so that
That's your mistake. You gotta have a pro
that
controller,
is
bro.
my mistake.
Pro controller, bro. Pro controller.
yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what's wrong
Yeah.
with
It's
you, man?
horrible.
I mean,
Liam,
I
feel
wasn't
so sorry
home.
for you.
I was in Scotland at the time, so
You can still-
I was away
Oh,
from
where?
home.
Oh, where are you?
Well,
I
it
see.
still doesn't matter. You can still kickstand that baby and put a pro controller in your hands. I do that even at the airport.
I like the
Can you
first
kickstand that
Bayonetta,
baby?
You can
even if I
kickstand
think it's a
that
bit
baby.
overrated.
I do not think
But-
it's overrated.
I feel like I'd be far more interested in Bayonetta 3 if it was on a PlayStation 5 and I could play at 60 frames per second.
Well,
That is 100%.
I will say
That's a good statement.
I will say
Yeah.
after playing Bayonetta, the first two Bayonettas, and then playing Devil May Cry 5, I vastly prefer Bayonetta 3. I mean Bayonettas. The gameplay
really?
is so much better.
I feel the opposite way.
I think the witch time is clever, which adds a new element to the gameplay, and you don't get that with Devil May Cry. I think they're both good. They each have their own flavor, and it just depends what flavor you like. But I think they both are masters in the genre, and so I'm really excited because they're integrating Bayonetta 3 is integrating the monsters more in the summonings, and I think that's going to be cool because it looks like you're going to have monster battles, and that's going to be freaking sweet. Because imagine that. So moving on, we have. Before I forget, go down the list. We have God of War, Ragnarok.
Oh,
That's a Hefeweizen, man. That's a bunch of banana bubblegum right in my face. Just like if there's like two boobs, one was bubblegum, one was banana. It's like mush.
does that make
I'm sorry.
Kratos his man buns? Like,
I'm at it.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
Exactly.
I'm at a hazy IPA.
Really? Why? It looks too similar?
No,
Is your main
no, it's not
issue?
that. It's that they're wrapping up the Norse saga in one game, my nervousness is the
I-
story will feel rushed.
That gets me excited.
Let's go.
I-
I want to see other. I want to see other cultures,
I just
gods represented in games going forward. Let's go. Move on.
I'm totally on board with that, fellas. I'm totally on board with that.
Mm.
My nervousness is how slow and meticulous the first game was. I feel like this one might go 500 miles an hour, and it might be felt a little rushed because where we left off in the first game, we left off with Freya pissed off at Kratos for killing her son. We have
Spoilers, by the way. Fast forward
Yeah,
several
spoilers.
minutes
Who
if you
cares?
haven't.
you,
Don't say there's a certain name that maybe you shouldn't say.
I'm not gonna say his
refer
name,
to
but
Okay.
Yeah.
but the boy is basically learning he has another identity to himself and trying to so he's supposed to self-discover himself as a human being, as an adult, and what he was, because he was portrayed to be a certain person which has a certain fate, and whether he should follow that fate or not. There's just a lot of plot lines here, and then on top of that you have to have somehow the winding story with the father and the son and their relationship, and then on top of that you still have to figure out a way to have it all end. Like, is basically my disappointment is, like, are we not gonna get like any big, is Odin just not gonna show up in this game? Like, how do you throw Odin in? How does, it's way too much. I feel like you need, I feel like you need 2 more games for this to happen.
Well, the thing is, Mitch,
This one and one more to finish it off, like set up the big battle.
They said that this is the end of the setting being in Norse mythology. Doesn't mean that the characters from Norse mythology don't have a part in the next game. That's my theory.
Nah. I think they're gonna,
because
I think
when you have a way to travel between dimensions, with the bridge, I think they could do all kinds of things, and I think they're going to get really kind of crazy with what they do next. I do think because there's a lot of art and there's a lot of ideas that have been put out there over the years that were actually made by Cory Barlog himself back when he was developing God of War 1 and God of War 2, because he was sort of like inextricably tied to both of those games' development, and even God of War 3, because I mean he wrote it, but he didn't, like, he wasn't really attached to that game, and he had a lot of really interesting ideas that you could find in the special features for those games. Like you could go back into those games and look at them now, including stuff that took place in the modern day, and basically there was something about the Greek gods following Kratos into Egypt. And I feel like that's exactly where they're going to go with it. Like instead of Zeus, it's going to be Odin, like following.
Give me Anubis. Give me Ra. Yeah. All that. Great.
I think no matter what, I think Cory Barlog has a plan, and I think he's going to pull it off. And they've already said that this game's going to be quite a bit longer than the last one.
We'll just have to see. I have a feeling.
I trust them.
I would be fine with it if the end of this game ended up being he fucked everything up again, and he completely destroyed the North's area, and seeks for a different kind of isolation, and the Sands is the better part of, or tries to, like, I don't know. I
don't know. I don't think they'll regress his character. I think it'll have something to do with fate.
I'm hazy because plot, but I'm everything else. I'm pumped to play. It's just I have a lot of faith in the team, but I know Cory is more stepped back on this project than God of War, because he's working on his own game. So he has been very hands off of this project. He has basically set up the template, but it's for them to execute. He's not writing on this one either. So he's just consulting every now and then. So next game, we have, let's just hit the WB area. Let's hit them one by one. Let's go Gotham Knights.
I'm so excited for this game, but How
are you excited about this game? It looks like crap.
I think it looks good, but I think they'll fuck it up. And I don't think this is coming out this year. This is like a small little theory of mine. I don't think it's coming out this year. I think that game's in development hell, and it might be a while before it gets out of it. I think there's far more chance of the other two games coming out this year.
Nah, I think it hits this year. I think it's the holidays.
You might be right, but
I think it's a holiday game.
I have no confidence in it anymore.
They're gonna try to bank this one in December when Aquaman comes out in theaters.
Yeah.
Would not be shocked. Evan, what do you? Oh, never mind. All right, moving on. Unless thumbs up or thumbs down on this one, Evan.
I don't know what this game is yet. If it's some sort of like co-op online thing, I'm not interested. But
Yeah,
well, I guess we'll see.
That's my issue. Is it seems to be mainly co-op multiplayer stuff.
I mean, you can play it single player too.
But the combat looks not as it looks as that's what I'm looking for. The combat it's different. It looks different. It doesn't. I don't think it's the same, and it's not as tight. I feel like it's way looser, and I'm not sure about that. So we'll see. The next one from them is Hogwarts Legacy.
This is a dark and very warm. No. It's a very, very dark and lovely Guinness. I'm gonna just say it. Like, my favorite alcoholic beverage is Guinness. So
Okay.
this is my Guinness or IPA, whichever. I am so excited for this game, but I'm also sad because I remember I was watching Sacred Symbols yesterday, and Colin Moriarty says he's heard this game's in a bit of development trouble and probably won't come out this year. And I was like, oh, God, no, please. I really want that game as soon as possible.
I'm kind of on 50-50 on this one. I need to see more. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, just saying you're a wizard at Hogwarts is not enough for me. Especially, yeah, I need to see more. I'm uncertain.
That's the thing, because even though we haven't seen much of the game, there is a lot of information out there about what it is. Like, they put out a lot of information and talked about it quite a bit when they initially revealed it. And everything that I read about it then sounded awesome. And I was like, yeah, this is like dream game levels. You know, this is like everything I would have wanted from a Harry Potter game.
Sure.
And so now it's just a waiting game for me. And I really hope it's as good as it sounds, because yeah, it's a dream game for me, and if it isn't what I was hoping it'll be like a huge letdown.
All right, Evan, what do you think?
Just I'm not indifferent per se. Like, I don't know how to feel about this because, like you, Mitch, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, it's
I
on
haven't
the
seen
map.
any gameplay. But like, I'm a massive Harry Potter fan. I finally was able to go to Harry Potter World at Universal Studios Japan. It was great. I bought a Dumbledore wand. Was walking around that whole area and like doing spells and shit was moving. It was great. And if they can put together like a solid whatever, you know, like what they're saying this game is, like I would be happy to play it, but I haven't seen anything yet. So sour ale for me at this point, but I'm interested. I guess sour ale means indifferent, but I think you know what I mean. Just I don't know. I don't know just yet.
Also, DanBoy90, I need more context on how that should be enough. I'm not sure which game you're referring to. I might have missed it when you posted that on chat. All right, next game. We have the game that has been in... we just have no clue where it is. Actually, I'm not even going to list it because it's never going to come out. I
want to know what it is. What was it?
Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, because it keeps getting pushed.
That's coming out soon.
It's pushed. It's game pushed again. So
I'd rather die than play that game.
But we can talk about Dan's favorite game, Mario plus Rabbids: Sparks of Hope.
Less than
being a wizard at Hogwarts. That's Dan Boy Nandy's. That should be enough. Being a wizard at Hogwarts. It's not enough. It's not enough because How many Hogwarts games have I played on my mobile phone where I do stupid spells? And I've also played some of the old PS1 Harry Potter games, and those were great. Those were really fun, and those were really exciting. But the gameplay is very, very kiddish. So I'm curious on how you make spells, how you make potions class interesting in a Harry Potter AAA video game. That's where
you throw spells without actually saying what the spell is. Like, what am I throwing out of my wand?
Am I supposed to have is the DualSense supposed to sense my like throwing of the wand onto the spell? I don't know. Maybe it's more.
Have a weapon wheel.
Maybe honestly, it's more of a.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Put it in a wheel, yeah.
Maybe it's more interesting that this game, the Hogwarts Legacy, maybe should have been a PSVR 2 game. That might have been more fun. Anyway, we'll see. We just haven't seen anything, so I don't know. Okay. Actually, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I'm giving it a IPA. I like the first one. I think I will enjoy this one. It looks like it's evolving stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I like the first one a lot. So it's like, it's funny. I don't feel that excited for it, but I know when it comes out, I'll be like, yeah, I want some more of this, you know. But it's kind of hard to care that much until it's out. To be honest, it's kind of like an easy game to wait for.
It's a good way to put it, actually.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
All right, moving on. Marvel's Midnight Suns, another Dan favorite, another RT. This one is made by the people that do oh gosh, why can't I think of the game now? XCOM. Thank you. I was gonna say com, but I just didn't know the first letter.
Not only is this a tactics game, but doesn't it involve playing cards?
No,
like a deck building.
No.
No. I think it does have some sort of card functionality. Yeah, I have.
That's even worse. That's even worse. It makes this game.
There's something to do with cards in there.
Go ahead, guys. Nothing.
No, I mean, I'm indifferent. I gotta see gameplay of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The only thing I would say is that if this game being out there in the ether means XCOM 3 takes longer to come, then I kind of wish this game didn't exist. And that's like the only thing. Yeah.
That's a burn.
So moving on to we're almost there.
How much sorry Mitch, how much time we have? I have about I got like 5 minutes left.
Okay. We're doing a quick rundown of just one word answers.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Speed round.
Yes. This game will make McWomble's name of shame Redfall.
Interested. Need to see gameplay.
Yeah, I have to give it a sour ale because I don't care for CG only trailers, even though it is Arkham, Arcane, and I love Arcane, but yeah, I didn't see gameplay, so.
Bethesda makes amazing video games. Sonic Frontiers.
IPA all the way.
Yes.
No. I like how I said no the exact time you said yes.
Fellas,
Sonic sucks. Sonic has always sucked. No, thank you.
I'm on the in between. I'm the sour ale here because
we got 4 against and right in the middle.
I'm curious.
Interesting.
I need to see more. Splatoon 3. That is an IPA.
No.
I don't care.
Nah, I love
it's
this series.
Multiplayer. I don't care. It's really popular in Japan, by the way. A lot of my students play Splatoon, and they talk about it all the time.
It looks like they're involving more traversal, which will be cool. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
Yes, sign me up.
On the fence, hazy-ish. It looked cool. Like Boomerang had some pretty cool traversal, doing like some like double jumps and throwing stuff and flipping to get up to like higher ground. But I need to see more.
Honestly, the Sunset Overdrive vibes I got from the last trailer just made me interested, like, a lot.
Mine is Mikhail. I think it looks like trash, and I can't stand the banter. I think the writing is awful.
Oh, I love it.
I think the writing is some of the worst I've seen in video games in quite some time. The humor does not land at all.
I like how polarizing. Like, I say yes, Liam says no. Mitch says trash. Liam says it's I love it. It's good. It's good. I'm glad we're all.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll love
Handful
this
of people
one,
that
Evan.
have very different opinions.
You'll love this one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
The only thing that comes, well, obviously, Blasphemous 2, which comes out in 2023, is the only game that actually matters for future releases.
IPA.
Second to that is Shredder's Revenge, which is an IPA. Yeah, that's an IPA. Burkoff, I know that's an IPA for you as well. McWomble, he's a beat 'em up fan. Maybe that's an IPA for him, but yeah, that's a
Liam.
That's a solid.
Kind of indifferent, to be honest. I don't like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so it's even though the game
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
And the final game, fellas, the final game. Breath of the Wild, or sorry, Zelda, the sequel to Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Not coming out this year.
I think it's holiday.
Yeah,
I immediately take my statement back. Blasphemous 2 is the most important thing that'll ever exist in the future, and then the sequel to Breath of the Wild, and then Shredder's Revenge. Sorry, I take that statement.
I'm a sour ale. You know my issues with the first game. I'm nervous on how this game has evolved, and if it actually has evolved, because I think Breath of the Wild is the most overhyped game ever in the history of video games, and overrated in the history of video games.
It's definitely overrated. I still think it has its merits.
You know what? And I will say, Mitch, because you know how we've done like a Last of Us episode, a Red Dead Redemption 2 episode. If you want to get like Erebus Jones on with you and whoever else, and do like a absolute like 2-hour trash fest takedown of Breath of the Wild, I will watch it. I'll be fine.
I mean, I would enjoy the shit out of that, to be honest.
Well, Evan, we technically did that years ago when I played both Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I also was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and then Vin was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and we kind of compared at that time. So I've left all my cards on the table. I think it's a good game. I think it's a good to great game, not a game changing, forever be one of the greatest games of all time type of games.
Fair enough.
I roll material right there.
All right. Yeah. Is there a game I forgot before we go, fellas?
You did forget Kirby, but
oh my gosh,
we can talk about that at some point.
Jesus Christ!
Final Fantasy 16 as well.
I don't think it's coming this year.
Yeah.
I think it will.
Like, no,
I think it'll be awesome.
I think it will not make it because they have already had to delay it. So I thought it would be coming this year, but after the delay of they can't even show stuff to us until early this year, that made me worried that it's not going to make it. That it'll just fall out. I think it'll be March of next year.
If it was Nomura who was involved with this game, I would say no way. But I trust the developers of Final Fantasy 14. I think they'll get it out in November.
Couldn't have said it better. I agree with everything Liam just said about 16.
Well,
and I think
I have to leave. By the way, I got to go shopping for dinner.
And on that note.
Imagine there's some music playing and there's an outro fading into the distance, into the sunset. All right, guys. Great to talk to you. I do have to leave, but cheers for setting everything up, Mitch. Liam, good to see you. I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, see you later. Bye.